Well, hello, welcome to another episode of Her Journey. I am your host, Jackie Cameron.
And I am your co-host, Cassandra Cass.
Yes, and so today we have another beautiful sister that is going to bless us and share some of her journey with us. I have known her, feels like forever, but I know it's definitely, I would say 40 years.
At least, yeah.
At least 40 years. So, we have always bonded. Our sisterhood remains, even though we don't see each other for a long time or talk to each other, whenever we connect, it's just like we pick up from where we left off. And I love that about our relationship. So I'm going to let her introduce herself. You have an opportunity to see the questions. And so we're going to just walk through the questions. And we're going to start off easy and then kind of build up. So we'll go easy on you. But, just tell us your name, a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into our conversation.
Okay. Well, good afternoon, ladies, and thank you for this opportunity. I'm so proud of you, Jackie.
Thank you.
And Cassandra for being her assistant or working alongside of her to support her in her vision. With her. Yeah. And my name is Kim Odom. And Mallory Odom. I'll put my maiden name in there. Kim Mallory Odom.
Yeah.
And I, as Jackie said, we've been friends for quite some time. Our connection is faith-based, right?
Yes.
Mostly faith-based. I am married to a beautiful man. His name is Ronald Odom. Beautiful family that I married into. And Ronnie and I have been married it'll be 43 years in July coming up.
Wow.
In July coming up. And we have 5 beautiful children. And we'll get deeper into that. But I'm a grandmother.
Yeah.
5 beautiful grandchildren. And so I'm still working. I'm working with the city of Boston. I'm 7 years in July.
Nice.
So I'm looking forward to retirement at some point, maybe in 3 years,
Yeah.
This year I'll be 60. I always get my age mixed up. This year I'll be 62.
Yes.
This year I'll be
62.
I'll be 62 this year in
October. Yeah.
In October. So
yeah.
I'm looking forward to 65. That's my retirement goal.
Yes, absolutely.
Retirement goal.
You look amazing. 60. Has nothing on us.
Appreciate that. But so I'm just, that's who I am, and there's so much more, and like you said, we'll get into that with the questions.
So we're gonna get started with the questions. So I was thinking, like, what questions do I start with? So I was thinking of our self-care question. We talk about self-care not being selfish. And you can't pour into someone else's cup if you're not pouring into yours. Right. So what are things that you do or are learning to do? Because for some of us, it's still a process, right? Doing or learning to do to provide self-care for yourself. Like, how do you fill your self-care cup?
Yeah, and I think I had to learn that, as you say, unfortunately, with tragedy that has come, I've learned about this self-care, that you got to take time for yourself, take time to breathe. And so as I was, looking even at that question, I was like, how do I answer that? Because certainly part of the self-care is as again, I talked about being faith-based, is prayer. I'm praying, I'm constantly looking to God and saying, God, I need you, and just consulting him on things. But then the other side of it is, some I don't know if it's vanity, but like hair and nails, like making sure I'm going to, and I didn't go today, but I went last week, so I had to kind of balance it too, like every other week, So
That's
But I
good.
make sure that I, take care, because that's important too.
It
When I
is.
go get my hair done and get in that chair and
Mhm.
feel that
Feel
water
that,
on
yeah.
your hair and them, massaging you, that feels good.
Yes.
It really
yes.
does. It feels good. And then the end results of the outcome, it's like, okay, I feel
Yeah.
good about me,
Mhm.
and then
Mhm.
and then the nails, you go on, you're getting your nails done, and nowadays they have all these different things that you can do,
Design.
designs
Oh,
you can put
gosh,
on.
yes.
And so that don't, and no, that seems so like, small, but those little things,
Yeah.
it's
Make a
those
difference.
little
Mhm.
details that really lift you up.
Lift you up for
Yeah.
And
yourself.
and my husband will get on me about, well, he does sometimes, retail shopping.
Retail therapy.
Retail therapy. There you go. That's the word. Retail therapy. Retail therapy. Now, I'm one that I like to go into the store and look and touch and feel, but I also
Yes.
like the online
One
thing.
nice stuff.
And my husband, he'd be like, "You got a package. You got." So I say to him, like, I work. Like,
Mhm.
I work, but
Yeah.
and
All children are
and
grown.
and I yes, and so I feel like I get to treat myself on occasion.
Yeah.
I think he thinks I treat myself a little more than I but and then I get things that I thought and I liked, when I saw it, but if I don't like it, I can
Okay,
return
give it
it.
back.
I send it
Yeah.
back, right?
That's
So
okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think
And
that's
then
perfect.
the other self-care for me, I'm actually sitting in a room
Mhm.
that Ronnie, my husband Ronnie, has labeled or deemed our MV room. MV stands for Martha's Vineyard room.
Okay.
This is our
Oh,
Martha's
nice.
Vineyard room because
I look at
we
the
go
paint color right there.
we go
Mhm.
every year in August with our son Brandon, his wife, and the two boys to
Okay.
Martha's Vineyard. I love the water.
Yes, me
Mhm.
too. Me too.
It's and that environment is just so peaceful, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
And so Ronnie like we don't have it yet, the
Mhm.
money to own a home on the
Mhm.
vineyard.
Martha's
And so
Vineyard.
he's like, we're gonna create that in our house. We're gonna
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
create that,
That's
spirit
beautiful.
or environment in our home. And so this is our family room is called the MV room. And
Oh, I love it.
we got nautical stuff,
I
Yeah.
on the
see.
walls
Yeah.
and
Nice.
shelves and stuff.
The color on the walls is
But
so beautiful and
and the
peaceful.
thing is, now this was his vision,
Mhm.
but I I kind of have usurped authority.
Yes.
So in our downtime, and now we're empty nesters.
Yeah.
So this is my corner of the house.
Yeah.
And his
Okay.
corner is downstairs.
Yeah.
And so I kind of taken over the MV room. And so part of my self-care is like feel good TV. Like I like watching HGTV
Yeah.
and
Yes.
the Hallmark channels.
Yes.
And I also like mystery stories. So I like Murder She Wrote and
Yeah.
all those mysteries. So those kind of things really like they help me.
Yeah.
They do.
And then
They
the
do.
other thing is inspirational literature,
Yes.
Yeah.
devotionals.
Yeah.
Be still and know.
Yeah.
My mom sends me devotionals from Mary Paget Ministries.
God, yes.
So and then I have some folks that folks see things and they'll send you
Yeah.
inspirational
Yeah.
quotes and things like that. And it's those things are real, they are so helpful. And so
Yeah.
that's my self-care process.
I think that's beautiful.
I do too.
You have a plethora of things.
Yes.
That you're
Yes, a
doing, and that's
platter.
good. And self-care can look different for each of us.
Yeah.
But it's important that we're all carving out some time for it. If it's just getting up in the morning before everyone and having that cup of tea to start your day,
Yeah.
going for a walk, like whatever it is, it's important that we put that in our schedule.
It's funny you say that if it's just getting up in the morning and having a cup of tea. So I work hybrid.
Okay.
And so I work 3 days in the office and 2 days remote.
Okay.
I work from 7 to 3. So
Mhm.
I get in the office early, and there's a couple other people who get in early too.
Yeah.
But I have a ritual. When I get in, I, go into the office, do, what I need to do in there, but I bring like my breakfast and my lunch in. I don't often buy out.
Okay.
If anything, I'll go to the grocery store because I work near South Bay.
Okay.
So I'll go to Stop and Shop, and I grocery shop, and we have a refrigerator, and I put food in there so that I can, So I fix my breakfast in the morning, and I make like, the omelets. They have the thing that you can make an omelet in,
Oh, nice.
and I and so my coworkers, like they just say, they look at me and they just amazed that what you really make a nice breakfast. You got your fruit and you got your egg in it. And I just, I laughed that they're really amazed at that. But even that small thing right there means a lot of
Yeah, it gives you that energy for the day, sets you up for the day.
Exactly.
You off on the right foot, because that's
exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's beautiful. I love your self-care ritual, routine, regimen is the word.
I like the MV room. I like that.
Yes, that's really nice.
I love that because I love the water too. I always think how peaceful it is. And if God can keep the ocean from coming all over, then how big can my stuff be? It can't be that big because that's the God I serve.
Yeah.
So I love the water as well. It just really always soothes me. So I'm with you.
And then I think, if I think of my next question, I would say, what do you know now? What do you know now about yourself? So what do you know blank about yourself that you didn't know before?
I guess, it would be that things that I probably thought that I wouldn't be able to handle,
Yes.
that I can handle it. It's hard, certainly it's a challenge.
Yes.
But things that you thought this is going to take you out, or just like, whether it's physically or mentally, like you're just done. God has been the source of my strength, literally. He has certainly been. So I've learned that God is.
Yes, I love
I
that.
truly have learned that, the God that we pray to and that we ask, to keep us and to keep our mind and, and all of those things, that he is a keeper.
Yeah.
He is the keeper. Because, there are times when you feel like I can't do this. I can't do this. As you asked that question, when got married and you start having your kids, and I don't know, before having children, when you hear people talk about having children and how the childbearing is hard, and you're like, oh my God, I think I'm gonna die if I have a kid. And then when you're in that situation and you have your baby, you're like, oh, I'm still here. I didn't die. It didn't kill me. It didn't kill me. And I think, that's the analogy
that's a beautiful
that I use for, life's challenges. So that's what I know about me now.
And so kind of staying on that same vein, I guess my question would be, what was one of your biggest challenge, or is one of your biggest challenge, and what did you do to overcome it or to process it? Because sometimes we still are going through that part of that healing journey. So you can say overcome it, but processing it.
So this is a hard question for me. And both of you guys know. So the loss of Stephen. The loss of my 13-year-old son. Stephen was the last of our 5 children. And October 4th, 2007 was that life challenge that was the greatest in my life. And I have yet to overcome.
Yeah.
as you can see.
Yeah, it's okay.
I have yet to overcome,
Yes.
but I'm learning how to navigate and how to live with such loss.
Yes.
Such loss, because losing Stephen to gun, because Stephen's life was taken by gun violence. Somebody who we still don't know to this day, just took it upon themselves to shoot him and, you know, take his life.
Yeah.
And that still is like, God, you know, it's still a big question. Like, I'm still trying to understand why.
Yes.
And what is the lesson in all of that?
Oh, Jesus.
You know, what is the lesson in all of that? And so, yeah, that's the greatest challenge in my life to date.
Yeah.
And again, it's, you know, it's not something that I've overcome.
Yes.
I'm still in the healing process of it. However, I will say that, you know, again, like I just said it, you know, God is the source of my strength. I haven't given up.
Yes. That's beautiful.
On my faith in God, right? My faith has been injured.
Yes.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I always use the analogy is when you've been injured physically, in order to recover, oftentimes you'll go through physical therapy, right? You've got to go through physical therapy to get back to a state where you once were, or at least close to it. And I see that as this injury to my faith, right? That I'm going through a spiritual therapy or recovery, and that all of that is still, you know, part of this overcoming journey to that challenge.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just want to ask, in that, do you think that maybe you'll ever get back to that other state? I can't say I know how you feel because I don't.
Yeah.
But when I think about this, and I was telling a couple people how excited I was, but I had to prepare myself for this today. I think in the time that it's happened, do you feel like you've been able to rebuild that faith? Do you know what I'm saying? Am I making sense?
Yeah.
I just.
It's certainly not the same.
Okay.
It's a change. There's a change.
There's a change.
You don't, I don't know how to,
Because I can't imagine the
see it as you don't see it as you saw it before. Like when we often quote the scripture, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. No plague shall come nigh my dwelling, right? And I think when I would say that, I believe that literally, like, you know, we're protected. And even the night before Stephen was murdered, we were having Bible study in our home. And at the end of every Bible study, we would put the children in the middle and circle around them and pray God's protection.
Yes.
And then the following day, Stephen's murdered. And so I'm now confused with even the scriptures that I'm quoting, and I'm saying, God, like this, you know, so, you know, it's changed for me. I don't look at it as literal as I did before, but at the same time, I have not given up on the word of God. And I say, God, help me, you know, because I'm confused. I'm still confused, but I'm willing to continue to trust you and trust you helping me. And I think also perhaps part of some of that is just little things like Stephen himself. So he was in the 8th grade at the James P. Timothy. Stephen, they kept ELA journals.
Okay.
Mhm.
And they had a peace curriculum in their school through the Louis D. Brown Peace Institute, which I'm much involved in
Yes.
now.
Mm-hmm.
But Stephen had writings in this
Mm.
journal.
Okay.
And some of those writings just seem so prophetic in the aftermath.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because, you know, in his writings, he would say that you know, he was tired of the violence that was going on in his neighborhood,
Wow.
but that he believed that the community should come together and stop the violence and start peace. So he had hope.
Yes, he
Wow.
Stephen
definitely.
had hope.
Mm-hmm.
He was looking at his surroundings. He knew that things were not quite right in the community,
Yeah.
but he had hope.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
He also had things in there where he talked about his dad, you know, and he said how his dad was a funny guy,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, he also talked about how his father, loved them and made sure that they, you know, that his siblings, and whenever things, whenever we had problems, we would all sit down as a family and work it out.
Wow. That's
Wow.
And then he wrote an essay, because I got a little jealous when I was reading his journals, and it seemed like he was saying a lot of things about Ronnie, and I was like, well, what about me?
What about me, mom? But mom.
And then I came upon this essay about my mother.
Oh my.
Wow.
But in the essay, he couldn't talk about me without talking about Ronnie as well.
Okay. Okay.
But in the essay, Stephen is so cute. In this essay, he says, my mother it wants the family to be healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, and I think he was writing this around the time I was doing Weight Watchers.
Okay.
And, you know, Stephen was a husky kid.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I was doing the Weight Watchers, I was also kind of like making him do it with me.
For everybody.
So I think that's why he was saying that my mom wants to, you know, if the family be healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And then he says, my mother didn't go to college because she got married at a young age.
Very true. She did.
But then he goes on to
Very
say that if I had gone to college, he named these colleges that I would have gone to. And I said, where did he get this from? I don't even remember saying these things to Stephen.
Wow.
But he also said, my parents' names are Ronald and Kim Odom, and they teach people to live life.
Wow. That's
Prophetic.
deep.
Wow.
And I'm like, where? So he was observing us.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was really paying attention.
Yes.
Yes.
And I remember when we had started the ministry, which was in October 2006,
Mm-hmm.
there was one night that Stephen came. It was a Wednesday night. He ran into the house. One of our neighbors who live across the street from us was part of our cleanup today. They had sent us some books in a box. It was like Bibles and inspirational books.
Okay.
So Stephen is running into our house and he says, Mommy, Miss Trina and Mr. Alex sent these to us. They sent these to us. He's running in and I look in the box and I'm like, this is ammunition. Those are my words.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is ammunition, like spiritual,
Yes.
warfare.
Yeah.
And so when I think back to those things,
Yeah.
it just says, God, were you preparing us?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what,
Yeah.
even the night that it happened, Ronnie was listening to a 10-year-old kid sing Yolanda Adams, There Is No Pain That Jesus Can't.
Wow.
And just, was minutes before, as Ronnie and Dion were listening to this 10-year-old kid, they were on the computer, and within a 5 or 10 minutes time, gunshots ring out. And it's Stephen that was, impacted by it. But I'm like, when I think back to all of that, and it'll be 17 years in October, I just say, God, like, it's hard to comprehend that this was part of the plan, but, but you know, so we're holding on to that, and
Yeah.
you know, it's
And
caused
I
us.
think when I hear you talk, when you were saying about the time has been so long, but I think one of the things we have to remember that we can't put time on this.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't think that we have the right to tell somebody when they should.
Oh, no.
And I didn't, you weren't saying that.
Oh.
But I've kind of alluded to kind of hearing this in the atmosphere of other people, that I don't feel like anyone has the right to put a time on when you should kind of like get over it. And I'm gonna use those words exactly.
Yeah.
Well, because people say
Say
that.
that, yeah, and you don't have the right to tell somebody, like, you aren't sitting in that person's shoes. And so I don't think we have the right to tell someone, well, that was 10 years ago, what are you doing? No, you
Yeah.
don't have the right to say that. And I believe that, I think even through this tragedy, I think the beauty that I hear you saying is that you're still holding on. You know what I mean? And that you still trust God, because so just because sometimes our faith waver, because things come and you be like, this makes no sense. Right? Like, help me with my unbelief, because
Right, exactly. Yes.
this makes no sense. And I can see that being a question, and this is in no way in the tragedy you experienced, but even with my son Nicholas having autism, I'm like, what did I do? I didn't think I asked for it, and then thought, like, why?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't raise my hand and say, oh, I'll take that journey.
Yeah.
I did, and I'm just like, but why? And even for me, I'm almost being mad at God, having a conversation with him, like, you gotta tell me something. This is just not it,
Yeah.
But, so that's no comparison to what you're saying, but I'm just saying how, sometimes we just don't know. It doesn't make any
Right.
sense. It doesn't make any
Exactly.
sense. But, the beauty is, and I also want to add, like, I've seen you just work with organizations after that. Like, look at what he says. You said something like talking about my parents teach people how to live life. Like, you guys got involved in so many organizations through this. You met incredible people that you probably would not have met.
Did you all go to Congress, go before Congress?
We did. We did. We had a chance to meet First Lady Michelle Obama.
I remember seeing the picture.
Yes. Like,
yes.
It's like those moments is like, wow. Like, and I know you've been involved in like different gun violence against there's some organizations. I think one was called Lip birthday. Was it Lipstick.
Yeah.
So
ladies involved in putting a stop to inner city killing.
So you have done some incredible work because of this, where you could have just sat and just not did anything, but you guys have been spokespeople, and you guys have done some incredible and gotten involved in some incredible organization. Doesn't mean that the pain isn't the same, but you guys have also been able to help other people that are going through this when they hear about it, that you can speak to another mom because you know exactly what that is and how that's, the pain of that. And so, like you said, God is good. We do not understand everything. I'm going through a situation right now and I'm like, why? But like I say, I have to trust God and not lean to my own understanding.
Right.
My understanding is not adding up. My math is not mathing.
This definitely, God's math is definitely different than I think 2 + 2 = 4.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
My niece made a comment today. She goes, we struggle with math, but as soon as our paycheck come back 3 hours short, well, all of a sudden we got a PhD in it. So it's like that, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So
That's
so what would your grown woman say to your little girl today?
Wow. You know how when you're a little girl, I know when I was young, I always wanted to be grown. because it seemed like grown folks, were having a good time and got to do what they wanted to do, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
But I would say, perhaps to my little girl, that it's not all, it's not all fun filled, it's not all peaches and cream.
Yes.
This adulting thing is not fun.
It's not, but however, you do get to choose. And it is good being able to choose even when life, gives you lemons, right? There are things that you can do, as when you become an adult, that you can make some decisions that will, perhaps help you. And when you're a kid, you gotta do what everyone else is telling you. But yeah, when I was young, I thought, I looked at, older folks, and we was like, oh, wow, I can't wait to grow up.
Yes.
Wait to grow
We
up.
all felt like that, like do stuff. They don't gotta ask nobody. They just do it.
Yeah.
Realize that growing up thing comes with bills.
Responsibility.
Responsibilities, how they use what's the word, adulting?
Adulting, yes.
Adulting,
thing.
it has its pros and cons.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
What would you say, if I asked you, love is?
Love, love is a complex balance.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
It's a complex balance.
Wow.
And and thinking about this question of my faith-based wants to go, love is 1 Corinthians 13, right?
Yeah.
It's it's not puffed up, it loves, long suffering, and all of that, which it is according to the word, but it has a complex balance.
Oh, yes.
Right? Because it's an emotional commitment to someone, a person, or to a cause.
Yeah.
And at the same time, that emotional commitment comes with you having to decide just how much of myself can I sacrifice.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
How much can I sacrifice? Because even in love, there's integrity, right? You gotta, sometimes you can't love, you love, as the scripture says, love covers a multitude of faults. But then at the same time, there are things that folks, are asking you to do. You love me, but then they want you to do something that, goes against your integrity.
Yeah, that's
or diminishes you.
Yes.
You can, so it's complex. It is definitely a complex balance, right?
Yes.
That's really good.
I know. I've never heard anyone say that. I love that.
I had to think about this question. Really, I did have to think about the question, because like I said, even with how we've been trained or raised in our faith, and the scriptures.
Yes.
Like I'm seeing scriptures differently the way that I was trained to, because sometimes we think that, we have to take abuse and that's love, right?
Yes.
But that's not love.
No.
And we're not required to stay. When, so it's a complex balance, because you have to begin to have conversations with yourself to say, okay,
yeah, that's absolutely true. Absolutely true. So when you hear the words healing, evolving, redefining, which is what our H.E.R stands for, what do you think about when you hear those words?
Healing, evolving,
and redefining.
Redefining. And the three words that that come to me is, and again, like, I measure everything from October 4th, 2007.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really do. I feel like I stopped breathing and then was resuscitated. And so the three words for me is wounded hope seeker.
Wow.
Wounded hope seeker, because I'm still wounded.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm still hurt.
Yeah.
But I got hope.
Yeah.
And I'm still seeking as well. right?
Yeah.
I'm seeking with hope,
Mm-hmm.
believing that it's not gonna stay this way.
Yeah.
That somehow, and I want to be a part of the, the change, making the change. I remember when the tragedy happened,
Mm-hmm.
and we did what do you call the conference,
Okay.
news conference.
Mm-hmm.
And I posed a question because I wanted to know, like, because I couldn't comprehend, and I wanted to know, because there was so much violence happening, and you would see it on the TV, you hear other families,
Yes.
and you don't realize it's gonna come knocking at your door. And I want to know who's doing what, how's it being done, and how can I add value? I wasn't gonna just blame, like, because at that time I had called out Governor Deval Patrick, right? People were like, oh my God, she called out the governor. Yeah, people were like, so, but I'm a hurting mother. I want to know
Right,
who's
exactly.
doing what, how's it being done, and how can I add value? And I'm still in that vein.
Right.
I'm still, how can I add value? Like, I'm not just I don't want to just blame the government and folks, for what they didn't do or should be doing, but how can I add value to being a part of changing? Because at the time, and still, we didn't know who it was that took Stephen's life, but I want to know, well, who is this person or persons, and what happened in their life?
Yes.
That they could do such a thing.
Yeah.
Like, because I know that as a mother, we don't bring our children into the world to be murderers, to hurt and harm people.
Yeah.
These things happen, they are learned behaviors, right? They happen on an adult watch. Like children, and my mother did daycare for years, and she used to have this poem on the wall in the home, and it was the poem was entitled Children Learn. And it went on to say, children learn what they see, what they hear, what they're exposed. Like, children learn these things from adults, from what they're exposed to.
Yeah.
And so I'm always, mindful and conscious of that. And, we work in that vein now, where we're trying to be more aware or more engaged, and like you said, we've tried to participate in various organizations, because everyone, when it hits, when it comes your way, and it's not just about violence. It's, Jackie, as you shared about autism with Nicholas, right? When these things hit our lives, then you want to know, how do I get involved in being a part of helping a cause or a situation, right? Because like you said, I wasn't looking for this to happen,
Right.
but it's happened.
Yes.
It's happened, and now I know this thing didn't just happen to me. This thing is happening to so many other people.
Right.
And I want to be a part of helping somebody who, again, in 17 years, I've come a long way. Early on, I wasn't able to, say some of the things that I'm saying, but some things I'm saying is because I've learned on this journey. And even being able to encourage another mom. So there are mothers who are losing children, not necessarily to gun violence, but they're losing children to overdose, to drugs, to what's the drug that's fentanyl. I have a mom whose daughter died of a fentanyl overdose, and her and I we text every day. And and I tried to share something encouraging to her. Odom Lloyd, if you guys remember, the situation, Odom Lloyd, his mother, part of her ministry now, she sends a prayer every day, a beautiful prayer. Ursula Ward is her name. She sends a beautiful prayer out daily. And so what I've done is I share it. I share it with this mom, because she would say to me, Pastor Kim, can you send me some scriptures? Can you send me this? And I said, you know what? I'm going to send you some scriptures, but I'm also going to send you this prayer daily, because it's blessed me and I wanted to bless you. And so that's what you do. That's become now part of the trajectory. Things have changed.
Yes.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
I'm not the I am no longer, just like coming to Christ, you're no longer the same, right? When tragedies happen, it changes you. Changes you. Yeah.
Did you want to add anything? No. Yeah, no, that's, yeah, I mean, I understand that it definitely will reshape your thinking. It's also reshaped some people that you are now connected to that you probably may not have been connected to prior to this. So your village looks a little different as well, you know, and so I love that there's a community of women that are encouraging each other, whether it's in our scriptures, supporting each other. And so that's a beautiful thing, yes. So when we think about this word purpose, you know, people, it's the big thing, like, what's your purpose? Do you know your purpose? I think a lot of us are still in pursuit. It's like this word, I feel like we're always in pursuit of our purpose, you know, and sometimes some of us think it has to be, you know, camera-like action, as I like to say, and I was like, it can be the most simplest thing, it can still be your purpose. So do you think that if I ask you, like, what is your purpose in life? Like, do you have a definition, or are you still in pursuit of it, or you feel like you know what that purpose is?
You know, and I think for me, it's as simple as the song that we used to hear and perhaps sing. If I can help somebody as I travel along, my living will not be in vain. You remember that song?
Yeah,
we used to hear that song so much in church and get touched by it. But there's such truth to that. It's simple.
Yeah.
But if I can just make a difference in somebody's life by sharing something, an encouraging word, you know, or praying, or whatever the need is at the time, if a person comes to you, or if the person doesn't come, but you see something and you know, you're moved, you know, to you know, the words we use sometimes is to speak life. Right, to speak life into a situation. That's my purpose. That's my purpose. It's not, you know, you're right. Sometimes we think it's this grandiose, God, tell me what my purpose is. And I have some, you know, ladies say to me, you know, Pastor Kim, I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what my purpose is. And I'm like, you're walking in your purpose. You're walking in your purpose when you're able to encourage somebody, right? When you're able to like, you know, allow God to use you in a place. Like one of the women that's in part of the ministry, she was in the hospital for a little bit, and she was encouraging her roommate.
There you go.
And she was sharing the things that she was learning from Midday Manna.
Wow.
From the Midday Manna broadcast that we had started. And then we came to the hospital one day to visit her, and she was so excited to be able to introduce Ronnie and I to her roommate, you know. And I just wanted to just remind her, look at what you encouraged your roommate. That's purpose.
That's purpose.
Being an encourager. And sometimes we diminish that. We think it's no big deal. You know, when you're, but in the day that we're living in, where people are deciding that I don't want to be here anymore because life is hard, and you know, and they're making decisions to end it all. And who knows, maybe an encouraging word, and maybe not, but you know, but even still, like, you know, sometimes people will say, I'm so glad you said that to me, or you shared, because you don't know what that did for me. That helped me. You know, I was thinking about taking my life. You heard people give that testimony, right? So encouraging words mean a lot. They can be life-saving. Right? They can be life-saving.
Yeah, and I think that when we all work in that, you know, in our purpose, you know, it's just been like an overrated word. What's your purpose? What's your purpose? But like you said, those small things that we're doing, I like to tell people that thing that you would do innately if nobody even paid you to do it.
Yes.
Like, you
Yeah,
know,
okay.
whether if it's making sweet potato pies or whether it's usher at the door, whether it's, you know, going to a homeless shelter, feeding them, like whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
You know, those is when we all do what we're assigned to do collectively, we are still giving glory to the kingdom. You know,
Yeah.
we all can't be preachers, we all can't be like, you know, some of us want things that, you know, are seen by others. You know what I'm saying? But it's that you don't have to be seen. Like, as long as that thing is between you and God and He knows, like, that's your reward right there.
Right.
You understand? So I like to ask that question to ask because I feel like I know my purpose. I'm an encourager. If you are around me, as I said in one of my other videos, you're gonna feel all right. You know what I mean? So I want someone to leave feeling better in my presence than
Yeah.
we came into my presence.
Yes.
And just to share, you know, the journey of like, you know, my life, like now, as I said in one of my first videos, like some things as I was going through it, like I didn't feel like I could talk about it because I was still in my own healing process. But now that God has delivered me, like I reach back and grab the hand of somebody else.
Yes.
Let them know you can, it's gonna be okay. I know you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Like if you can't see it, grab my hand. I'll help.
Yes.
Take you to the light.
Yeah.
And encourage each other. So we go through things in seasons of our life. And so, I mean, the person I am today is not the person I was, 20 years ago. I don't even know. But because sometimes God allow us to go through things, and if we get connected to the wrong people, places, or thing, and we, I always like to say, sometimes if we talk too much, sometimes we just need to shut our mouth.
Yeah.
Shut our mouth. It's just like, no. And so, because sometimes people aren't here to encourage you in their purpose. Some people are here for dream killers, I like to say. So they will abort your purpose before you even get past your first trimester.
Okay.
If you know, if you sometimes say too much.
Say too much.
Learning how to just trust God, and when He releases you at a place where you feel like now I can share that, it is done with a purpose of healing and speaking life into someone, because you can be like, I'm not telling you something I heard, I'm telling you something I know.
Yeah.
And so you speak that thing. So yeah, so I encourage people to don't overanalyze the word purpose. You know, we got purpose-driven books, we got all this.
Right, exactly.
So people think like, it can't just be me, you know, giving to, going to a shelter because people are talking about, no, that's, somebody has to do that. That's a purpose, so we have to be comfortable in the things that God is leading us to do.
Yep.
Ultimately, He gets the glory. It's for His kingdom, it's for His building, so.
That's right.
I love that, you know, you didn't overthink purpose. You just used the song and told us what it was.
That's it in a nutshell.
There you go. Yes.
I love that. I love that.
It's old school, man.
Yes, yes, exactly. So who would you say is one of your biggest cheerleaders or influencers in your life, and why? And it may be more than one person. You know, sometimes I think people show up different depending on what seasons we're in.
Right.
And all. So how would you answer that question?
Yeah, and that question, like you say, I mean, there's been many who have influenced and been my cheerleader.
Yeah.
First and foremost, my mom. You know, my mom, you know, has influenced my life.
Yeah.
Just because she's my mom.
Yeah.
You know, and no, but she's a prayer warrior, and you know, and she certainly is a supporter and a cheerleader. For me, certainly my husband, you know, Ronnie as well. And, you know, the children, you know, the kids, you know, they'll even say, Ma, I'm not there where you are, but I'm for you. Like I'm with you, Mom, you know, I'm with you. Especially when we talk about forgiveness and all. I don't know where you are, but
yeah.
and then again, as I said, I measure a lot of things by Stephen and Stephen's own words. And as I shared his journal, like, I didn't know Stephen, he's an influencer, and he was my cheerleader.
Really, yeah.
Stephen was a cheerleader, and I didn't even realize it. And so he has truly left a blueprint, in a sense, for the work that we do now. The work that we do now was prophetically laid out by Stephen.
Wow, that's powerful. Wow, prophetic. Yes. Wow. So in that vein, so what would you say, what impact or fingerprint would you like to leave on the planet or the earth?
Yeah, the imprint is, or the fingerprint, the impact is just like, we know that your name means a lot. Like your name, how do I say, your name is your bond or something. No, your word is your bond, but your name has, has such meaning, right? So when I leave this place, and people say the name Kim Odom or see the name Kim Odom, I hope that name Kim Odom has such an impact that of good, like that it has a good reflection, like I'm not leaving any negative,
there you go.
a nasty taste in people's mouths, like, oh, that Kim Odom. No, but that when the name Kim Odom is mentioned, that it's mentioned in light of some good things, that I truly made an impact in this world, names, and that's why I know when I was coming up, and Ronnie too, with the kids, like, when you leave this house, you represent the Odom name. So you make sure you know, and so and so that's how we, that's how we were raised, that, your name is important. And when people see your name, either they're going to say, oh my God, or they're going to say, that's the, so I definitely want the fingerprint and the impact of the Kim Odom to be, that people will say, you know what, I- that, like, I know she went through a lot, because people do say that, people have made comments like, how do you get up in the morning? We were traveling to Martha's Vineyard some years ago to a women's conference. And on the boat, and one of the ladies from the church, Sister Sandra, she was talking to another lady, and then I guess she was sharing with the lady about me. And so the woman comes over and she's talking to me, and she's like, how do you get up in the morning? And I was like, I asked the question myself. I'm asking, and this was early on, like, I was still quite raw. This was in the raw stages. And I said to her, it's God. Because it's not me. It's definitely not me. I asked myself the same question. How can I get up in the morning? Right. And I said to her, you know what? Sometimes I don't want to get up. Sometimes I don't want to get up. But then I also said to her, if I don't get up, then who's going to speak for my son? Because even though my son is not here anymore, people need to know that his life matters.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm his mother. I'm still his mother, right? And I think that has been the influence. That I have to get up. I have to keep going because, I got to represent for Stephen. I got to represent for, mothers who have, so there's so much to it, right? There's just so much to that. But
absolutely.
That's the impact.
That's a huge impact.
That is.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
That's really, really important.
So if you were to complete this statement, I am, how would you complete that?
The way I feel right now is it's just, I am healing.
Okay. Mhm.
I am healing. I'm just still in healing mode.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I'm healing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That is, that's a place to be, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing wrong with saying that, and you being transparent to say that is the beautiful thing, because some people will try to, I don't wanna say that, no, that's a state, and that's where you are, and that's fine, you know what I
Well,
mean?
and I'm glad that you say that, because I knew that this, even looking at the questions that you guys had sent, I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my, this is deep.
Mhm.
And I'm this is like vulnerability
Yeah,
city, right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and I want to be able to be, like you just said, transparent.
Yes.
I don't want to put, because people have said, oh, you're so strong.
Mhm.
And so I start to think, like, is that the impression that I'm making, right? That I'm so strong that people don't realize that, yeah,
I'm feeling
you see strength, but I'm still hurting. Like,
Yeah.
I'm, and you see the strength, because that's God, like the footsteps in the sand kind of thing. God
Yeah,
is carrying me.
yeah,
God is
yeah,
carrying me. So I don't want people to think that that I'm so strong that I don't feel that
yeah, yeah.
it's all good.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
And so I wanted to be able to just show up in a way where I can be vulnerable,
Yes, and
be
yeah,
and just
we
say,
appreciate
you know
that.
what, you guys,
Mhm.
I'm still healing.
Yeah, and that's huge, because that also gives permission for other people to be vulnerable. When they can see, like, I love the transparency, and that's what this podcast is about, a place that you can be safe, you can be vulnerable, because we're all, like I like to say, we're all in the book, we're just in different chapters. So wherever you are in your chapter, it's okay.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? And however long it's okay. Like, nobody has a limit. We are all, it's not about perfection, it's about progressing.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
And so,
so early on, I can remember Tina Cherry, Clementina Cherry of the Louis D. Brown Peace Institute.
okay.
She had sent a flyer out. This was like 3 months after the tragedy.
Mhm.
And it was an invitation to come to some type of event that they were having.
Okay.
And I had been wanting to talk to another mother who had been impacted in the way, like I could talk to my mom,
Yeah.
but I needed to talk to another mother
Yeah.
who hadn't been impacted the way that I had been impacted. And I kept hearing this name, Tina Cherry of the
Okay.
Lucy. It's Clementina. She tells people now Clementina, because
Okay.
that's her mother named her Clementina, and people shortened it, and she allowed folks to call her Tina. But
Okay.
since her mom passed, she's honoring her mother, and it's Clementina.
Okay. Okay.
So I have to try to remember that too. But the day that I went to the I called to make an appointment to go to the office to see her. And I'm thinking it's a big, company, and the secretary's gonna answer the phone.
Yeah.
She answers the phone.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like,
Right.
and I don't know why I had this big imagination that this is a big place.
Yeah.
And she's with her sweet voice, and this is Tina, and she says, you can come anytime you ready, you want, come. And that's all she had to say. I think I went, like, I don't know if it was that day or the day after.
Yeah.
But when I walked into that office, and they were on Dorchester Ave at the time, she was in the mode of talking to a reporter, like she was in working mode, right? And all I kept thinking to myself is, man, I want to be able to do this. Like, I saw this woman working, like she was talking to the reporter and saying, and I'm like, I want to get to that place, but I was still in a raw place.
Yeah, sure.
And so when she got off the phone and she invited me, to sit down, and she told me, she says, you're in a safe place. She said, I want you to do whatever her in a state. And when that's all she had to say. I'm telling you, I boo-hooed, boo-hooed, boo-hooed. But I also, expressed to her that at some point, I want to be able to do what you're doing. I want to be able to honor my son. The way that you're honoring your son. So and those things right there, just to even go back and talk about that, it's like, wow, that's been the journey. That's been the journey. And it certainly has it's helped. It has helped. And again, to be able, like you just said, for someone to give you permission, because sometimes you feel like you can't, like I can't say that, but to have the permission to be vulnerable and say whatever you need to do. That's what we're here to help you do.
Exactly. And that's what makes it someone's relatable to you, because they're like, okay, I can relate to this because I'm feeling this way, but I don't always feel like I can say it because someone's looking at you like, no, we need to allow people to be in their moment, support them. And as I say, gently, just bring them back. Bring them back, and but none of this like all this tough skin. No. And I like to say, every woman tells their story on this podcast. I see it as a room that's dark, but as everyone tells their story, this room is dark, it's full of women. As everyone tells their story, they're lighting candles. And then each person lights their candle, they're making a pathway for the other woman to have permission to tell her story. Because that's important. That's important that you can just even talk about it. You might not think that that means anything, but that's also a method of healing. Putting a voice to it, like not holding it hostage, not internalizing, but saying it, and being in a room of people that you can be safe to say it, so that you're not being judged or looked at. So that's why, this project is so dear to my heart, because I'm like, okay, God, all these questions that we're asking today, God woke me up at 3 a.m. in the morning. I got a piece of paper and I just wrote them. And they didn't come in this order. They were like in another order. I kind of rearranged it, but I just wrote, and I was like, okay. I called Cassandra. I was like, I got these questions. What? I said, okay, God. And it was like, allow women to tell their story, like, and it's gonna be amazing that we ask women these same questions. The stories are so different.
Wow.
So it's just, I said, okay. And so, I was like, all right, so, what's the title? And, he decided to begin me like her. And I was like, okay, God, what does H.E.R. stand for? And then that's like, and then just became, I was like, all right. I'm like, I'm not techie. Look, who you're talking to, right? I just want to sit and have a conversation. I don't want to know how to put up a video about like, and so because I don't know how to do any of that. So in the beginning, we had hired a young man to help us, but that didn't pan out. And then I was like, so I'm at home trying to like how to put up a video and YouTubing, and I called my grandson. I said, Mikkel, I said, do you know how to help me? Can you help me? He was like, sure. He move over. Girl, he had the video up in like 20 minutes. He added music. So he's like my little tech person. I'm like, God, everything I need is right here. I'm out here trying to find somebody who's right now. And so he's been teaching me. I was like, slow down. I need to learn. I need to take notes, So he's been showing me how to do it. And I said, okay.
Beautiful.
So, like, no excuses, And so however God uses this podcast, we're gonna be having more guests. We're gonna be doing some Q&A round table. And so I'm just gonna walk out this journey, because we all have some incredible stories. Some of us, and I think it will give encouragement to other women. So will uplift, motivate, encourage, inspire other women that we're all in this thing called life, the journey. We're all in it together. And I think our last question for you will be so this chapter of your life that or this season of your life, like what would you title that?
Season of my life. I had so many different titles that sprung up, but there's one title, and it's a book that I want to write that I haven't written yet,
Yes.
but but it has to do with learning how to walk by faith again.
Wow.
Again, you know, I talked about that injured faith, right? And so for me, it's like learning how to walk by faith again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that would be it, because, you know, even something else that we talked about, and I think, you know, when we were brought up to when situations happen in your life, and, you know, put on the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, you know, and things like that. And I think we get confused. I'll make it personal. I think I got confused by that, because even like a minister said to me, and I still to this day am trying to understand what he meant when he said it. He came the night before, I think it was the night before we were you know, laying Stephen to rest. And he says, show yourself a hurting mother. And I said to him, oh, I'm like, was I being too preachy? Like when I would do the conferences and things like that, did he see me on TV, you know, being like my, you know, the preacher, Kim, you know, God, you know, I forgive people, God. So I was trying to understand where he was coming from with that. Show yourself a hurting mother. He said it. He said those words. And I'm still like, well, was I not like showing myself that I was hurting? Was I being this, you know, strong person? Because like I said, people say, oh, you're so strong.
Yeah.
You know, and then I remember saying to one of the EMT people, like, I'm numb, actually. You see strong, but I'm numb.
Exactly.
You know? And so, yeah, so I'm even processing that.
Yes.
Comments like that.
Yes.
Show yourself a hurting mother.
Yeah, I don't
Because, and I think part of it is because when we're ministers or preachers, we do try to, you know, God's got me, God. And we don't want to show ourselves vulnerable. So I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe that's what he meant. Like maybe I wasn't showing myself as a vulnerable mom who had just lost her son.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Exactly.
but definitely learning how to walk by faith again.
Yes, absolutely. I don't understand that comment either. I'm right with you. No, you know, if you don't know what to say, it's okay not to say anything. But we gonna leave that. But you know, this has been amazing. Thank you for stopping by and spending some time with us. I told you it would be good. You'll be great. It's just having a conversation.
You did, and it really was just that. It was like having a conversation with my sisters.
Yes, just want it to be relaxed and feel like you're having a conversation. But yes, I don't know if you want to end with any, you want to say anything?
No, but thank you. I mean, you've always been such an inspiration to me. And you know, not to chime into that you're so strong, but to have the one foot in front of the other and continue on is just inspiring, and it's amazing. And I have sat back and watched in awe the things that you all have done and tried to put together through the tragedy and the loss. You know, you all have just been amazing, you know, and I want to thank you, because we're really just trying to touch women where they are.
Okay.
I can't put on any pretenses or, you know, put on any faces, because this is hard. Life is hard. And we all have different things that we go through.
Yeah.
It's hard for all of us. And the world it's pitting us against each other so much and more and more.
Yeah.
So I want us to build one another up. I can't stand it. Every time we turn around, this one said this in a song, this one said that in a song, and this one. they're creating stuff just
Yeah.
to have something to talk about.
Mhm.
And I can't stand it, so I just appreciate you coming
Yeah.
to just be with us to
Mhm.
hopefully encourage another woman that
Mm,
you can go on.
mm.
It's not going to be easy. We're not trying to fake, we're not faking it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're not trying to fake it. It's going to be hard, but if I can sit next to my sister and encourage her or reach out to somebody else to encourage them,
Mhm.
then we will make it.
Yeah.
We might, we will, and we,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
I
that's
love
the
that.
key that we have to put it in there. It's
Mhm.
like not if and how, we can make it and
Yeah.
we will.
Yes. Yes.
And, you know, by the grace of God.
Yeah.
By the grace of God.
By the grace of
Exactly.
God.
Yes.
We don't understand a
Mhm.
lot of things.
Mhm.
But the Bible says that we don't comprehend what he comprehends. That's the truth. And whether or not we want to accept that, which is the key, like, I want to know, I want to know, I want to know. No, okay, just put one foot in front of the other
Yeah.
and get yourself out of bed and keep going. And there are days, I'm sure all of us, we just wanted to cover our heads up and I don't want to get out.
Yes, exactly.
Let me
Yeah.
do it till tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll do it.
Yeah.
I try it tomorrow,
Yeah. Exactly.
but we just continue to get up. And I appreciate you for being here.
Yes.
And I thank you
Yeah.
because you have handled yourself with such grace
Mhm.
and such integrity when you were talking about the name. You know, I really like that, the
Yeah.
family name and carrying it with integrity. And I've seen all your children, you've raised them to
Mhm.
be children of integrity and to
Yeah.
carry
Thank
that
you.
name and to carry their mother's heart,
Mhm.
to have their mother's heart.
Yeah.
You know, when you talk to them and just see them, I see that.
Mhm.
And I really thank you for just being our guest today.
Yes, absolutely,
you,
absolutely. And
guys.
there's also, isn't there to the garden, or isn't there something in Stephen's honor that?
Yeah, so there was a housing development that was just put up, and they had to come to our neighborhood organization. And so as part of the development, there was some green space, and we were able to well, actually Mayor Menino at the time gave us this green space, and the Rock is the name of our neighborhood association. Is called Redefining Our Community, Rock.
Okay, okay.
And they wanted to name the space after Stephen. And so the garden is called the Stephen P. Odom Serenity Garden.
Yes.
The housing development, they completed it, and now they're gonna work on the garden itself. So the garden probably won't be finished until like the summer of this year, but we'll be, getting that information out.
Yes, I've seen
Yeah.
like snippets been on
That'd
Facebook.
be
So
awesome.
it's amazing, and you know what? Stephen is proud of you guys.
Yes, yes.
You know, and it's just like his legacy lives on through you guys. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so God knew exactly who to give him as parents. He put him in the right family.
Yes, he did.
And he was a seer. I'm gonna say that. He was a seer. When you talk about his journal and the things that he said, he was a little beyond his years.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
a seer. He saw some of the things that are even happening now. So you
And
know
he
what?
left some things for you all.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I hear that in what you
Yeah.
said. Like
Oh yeah.
he left some things for you.
Yeah,
all, and that was
amazing
on
young man.
purpose.
Yeah, and so we did
Purpose.
start a nonprofit in his name, and it's still, we're still
Developing.
trying to grow it, but it's called the Spot for Life Foundation.
Okay.
And the goal is just advocating to ensure that young people and families are able to recognize, envision, and achieve their full potential. And it's actually based on Stephen's I Am poem, as there's an I Am poem that he wrote from school, the I Am.
Yeah.
And he talks about how I am basketball, he says, I am basketball, I am drums, I'm a person.
Okay.
And so, he defines who he was,
Yes.
and we know that children, have a sense of who they are, who they want to be, and we want to encourage those things. So we want to be a part of encouraging young people in their I am, you know.
Yes, awesome. I love the work that you guys are doing. And so again, thank you for taking this time, and we're gonna let you enjoy your MV room for the rest of the day. I don't know if you're gonna watch a Hallmark or HGTV. That's my
Yes,
TV.
most likely.
Love
That's
it.
what, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what.
Yeah, well, blessings to you and thank you again.
Thank you.
And we're gonna have you back for
Yeah.
some more
Okay.
conversation.
Okay.
All right, blessings.
Thank you guys. Blessings to you.
Bye-bye.